How about this? Undercovering the sneaker cartel. What the f***? Is this a Coolkicks video? What the fuck? Is this a deal? Wait, what the hell? Wait, what? Is this a deal? This is the same dude that did the other video. What the fuck is this video? Hold on, what? Uncovering the sneaker cartel?
Imagine a pair of sneakers disappears off a train, but then shows up in a boutique across the country.
Millions of dollars in high-end shoes, including Nikes and Yeezys.
Thieves use it to transport their stolen goods.
Sneakers that were meant for retail stores, not the streets. This story spans from Memphis to Los Angeles to Chicago and even the Mojave Desert. It's about a cartel-style train robbery, secretly implanted trackers, warehouse busts, and a 1.
Yo, what the fuck is this? All right, you know what? Let's just watch this video.
$4 million home raid. And at the center of all of this is a company that's quietly fighting back, and that's Nike.
What the hell?
November
Curious.
2022.
Officers
I ain't gonna lie. Shout out Chance Dubinick. I ain't gonna lie. This editing and this whole video in general, it's pretty impressive. His last video was pretty good, even though there was some like stuff that I didn't feel like was needed to be said, or some stuff that was exaggerated. His videos are pretty good. So shout out to Chance Dubinick. Let's see what this video is about though. Uncovering the sneaker cartel.
they found 4 men carrying boxes to vehicles in the parking lot through this fence opening.
A Nike distribution route in Memphis is ambushed. Sneakers that go by the name of Air Jordan 11 Cherries, pairs that were months away from a retail release date, vanished from a truck. And within hours, hundreds of thousands of these pairs surfaced on resale platforms. And one of the biggest platforms, StockX, was alerted about this ambushing and began flagging and revoking payouts revolving to the sale of this sneaker. But the damage was already done and the message was clear. Authentication can't protect you if the origin of the product is stolen. But that heist wasn't just about stolen sneakers. It revealed a deeper vulnerability in Nike's supply chain. By June 2023, investigations had uncovered a ring operating in the Memphis and Southeast hub, and search warrants confirmed misuse of internal systems. Nike employees and paid-off UPS drivers were allegedly redirecting cartons by swapping labels and misrouting stock so that it could be intercepted.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it right here and kind of explain to you guys. I'm gonna explain to you guys because he's already talking about this. So this is something I would never just like come out and make a video about, but my boy Chance is making a video about this and is explaining some facts. So let me explain to you guys what's going on. Let me rewind this real quick.
Redirecting cartons by swapping labels and misrouting stock so that it could be intercepted. This was happening by Nike employees right under their nose. When it
hold on.
came time for trucks to load up the shipments from the Nike manufacturing warehouse to stores like Foot Locker or Champs, their own employees were paying UPS drivers to slap different labels on there once they were in the truck, and therefore they would never reach the intended delivery. That illicit flow was worth over $2 million in stolen Nike inventory, and that would later be linked to what would become the Project Blitz case. And a few months later, on October 2023, on Chicago's west side, the police executed a raid.
All right, well, I'm gonna pause it right there. Well, this guy knows ball. Shout out Chance, he does know ball. So, yeah, he's right. Shoes that are supposed to be transported from the Nike warehouses that are supposed to be shipping to all the retail stores, whether it's Foot Locker, all your retail stores, they're supposed to be shipped from Memphis, from their headquarters, to those locations. People that work in those warehouses or work at the headquarters were switching the labels. So a label, shipping label, that's literally supposed to be put on the box that has, let's say, 20 pairs of Gamma Jordan 11s that's supposed to go to Foot Locker. They were switching the labels and sending it to somebody. They were switching the labels and sending it to somebody. Somebody was paying off employees to switch the labels. This shit is actually crazy, but this is real. People were paying people to swap the labels on the boxes. And then instead of the boxes going to whether it's Foot Locker, whether it's Champs, whether it's JD, it's all going to the person that was paying people to switch these labels, if y'all get me. So, but Chance did a good job explaining it. Let's keep going. Let's see what he
On a
says.
sneaker warehouse
We'll move the
in
chat
Austin. And this
and
was a
hide it
location
for-
that was believed to be tied to resale and distribution. Inside, nearly $5 million in stolen merchandise, including
Scumbag
Nike,
behavior, facts.
Yeezys, and other high-value brands. And investigators traced the origin of some of this stock back to the cargo thefts, diverted trucks, and origin shipments from the south. And this raid showed that the underground sneaker economy wasn't just coastal, it had a Midwest arm. Chicago became a distribution node, bringing together southern heists and western resale markets. January 27th, 2024.
Thousands of pairs of stolen Nike shoes, clothing, prototypes, and accessories were found inside of a warehouse in Hawthorne.
Investigators swoop on a Hawthorne warehouse.
This is Project Blitz, it should be, if I'm right. Project Blitz, which is another huge sneaker reseller, has been doing this forever. The labels that were being swapped ended up being at his warehouse. Somehow, some way, he ended up with him. Was he the one that was paying people to switch the labels? 90% chance, no. Was it somebody doing it that was selling it to him and then he ended up getting caught up for it? Probably, but let's see what happens.
In Los Angeles that was a location tied to a popular name known as Project Blitz. Thousands of pairs of rare and unreleased sneakers were seized, and this accounted for over $5 million in alleged stolen merchandise. And at the same time, search warrants were executed in Hollywood apartments during the same target of network of shipments. Some were mislabeled, while some were sent with false origin addresses. Now, to be clear on the Project Blitz raid, this is my own personal opinion. I feel that they may have bought a few pairs of stolen merchandise, whether they knew or didn't. And then when LAPD raided the warehouse, they took everything, including their rare samples that say not for resale. Project Blitz has a huge social media presence, as well as being on the show.
So you guys heard that? That's honestly like very similar to what happened with Coolkicks, even though they didn't take all our shoes. This guy has a huge sneaker warehouse. Probably a small amount of those shoes were part of some stuff that was stolen in an operation, and it came down to him. They raided his warehouse. They saw all these shoes. They took everything. With Coolkicks, they didn't take all our shoes. They just took whatever it was, the 2 different models that were, you feel me? But it ended up being something like, oh, Coolkicks is goddamn, their whole operation's fake. They're selling all fakes. They've been robbing. No, that's not, you feel me? Let's get back into it.
Pawn Stars and on Vice, and celebrities often shop there at the warehouse. This is my own personal opinion, but these articles make it seem like everything in the warehouse was stolen, but I don't believe so because of how much they showed it off online. So this number of $5 million of this whole huge warehouse seized, I believe that it was probably a few $100,000 or maybe.
Facts. Yeah, I don't think everything was stolen. I feel like a lot of this stuff, that dude, Sneaker Blitz, what is it? Project Blitz? Project Blitz has been doing this for a long time, bro. So guaranteed not everything was, you feel me? It was just some stuff that ended up, you feel me? They ended up taking all his shit.
Maybe a few hundred pairs, not the whole warehouse.
Rami,
But one
put
thing
chat
was
back
clear,
on the stream.
The ties drew from Memphis to Los Angeles' underground resale market. And by February of 2024,
What's up, Mayor? What's
LAPD
up?
publicly disclosed a sneaker heist ring that had grown since mid-2023. And 27 felony counts were filed against figures including Roy Lee Harvey Jr. And this was for receiving stolen property, redirecting stock, and handling mislabeled cartons. Roy Lee Harvey Jr. was said to be the underground, like, kingpin from Memphis to Los Angeles for all these like stolen merchandise. And he was the reason that rings spanned from Memphis to Los Angeles to now worldwide resale. And you have to think about
So there was one person, apparently. One person that was, I guess, hiring people. One person was telling people at the Nike warehouses, yo, switch the label. Switch the label. Ship it here. Ship it to me. You feel? It was one person in charge of all this and was selling it to Project Blitz. And I guess that's the person he just...
For just a second. Sneakers are unlike other products. Sneakers do not have like
That's
a
a deal.
VIN number or a serial number that is associated with each pair of sneakers. So that if 100,000 pairs of these sneakers were stolen and brought back to somebody's house or underground warehouse, and then 5,000 of them sold here, and 100 of them went here, and then 200 of them went to LA, and then 1,000 went to New York. Once those sneakers start to flood into the resale market, they're pretty much untraceable. And that's exactly what began happening. Back in 2022, before the Jordan 11 cherries were even out yet, I remember going to SneakerCon and seeing just about every table had these. And whether the resellers knew it or not, they were buying these stolen. But this corruption was not just happening in Memphis anymore, this had expanded. In California and Arizona, crews began executing what they say looked like cartel tactics. These weren't...
All right, so yeah, well, that has happened. What he just said, pretty much, when the Cherry 11s first came out, a lot of the pairs that were being sold, or pretty much majority of them, were all stolen pairs. And people were buying them and did not know where the original source from, which was stolen. Somehow the original source ended up not supposed to... The original shipment or product was not supposed to get out to the public. Somehow it got out to the public, and now there's a whole bunch of Cherry 11s on the market. People are buying them, being sold on StockX, being sold at sneaker cons, but they're all stolen. People don't know that. That has happened with so many other releases. Just like the Brick by Bricks earlier this year, bro. The Brick by Bricks, the train got licked, bro. So many pairs were out that were stolen. People did not know. People don't know. People are just buying shoes because that's not everybody, not everybody is asking, where did you get it from? Where did he get it from? Where did that come? People are just buying shoes. You got a brick by brick for a good price? Give me that. That's what happens.
They weren't just smash and grab techniques. These were calculated heists. Investigators reported that trains were being disabled in the middle of the desert by cutting the air brakes, meaning that thieves hopped on these trains, rode them out in the middle of nowhere where they could cut the brakes and pretty much time wherever they wanted this train to stop. And when they stopped in the middle of the night in an undisclosed location, pallets of Nike cargo were then offloaded into remote desert stretches. Sometimes they were directly loaded up into a big truck that was nearby. Other times this stolen Nike merchandise was buried in the middle of the desert that these criminals would go back and dig up and take back to their warehouse later on when it all died down. And these stolen loads contained limited edition sneakers. Almost all of them were Jordan drops that had not even been released yet. Just one of these included the Jordan 4 Nigel Brick by Bricks. That release and also some Travis Scott releases were heavily affected by these.
See, damn, Chance I ain't gonna lie, that boy Chance be putting out some facts. Chance knows. Chance did some research.
Train robberies. And these gangs operated in cell structures. One team would disable the train, while another would move the goods to an undisclosed location, and then another would coordinate the transports to the stash points and the loading hubs. This was very calculated, but even the best plans leave their marks. And after a few of these train robberies that happened, Nike began putting these miniature trackers in their boxes. And the main point of this was to catch these thieves without making a huge public scene about it. And these GPS trackers that were hidden in the boxes sent pings from desert areas to abandoned buildings to urban warehouses, and this is how Nike and the feds was able to track down this.
These guys knew what they were doing. What do you mean they knew what they were doing? Yeah. I mean, obviously, Nike got them. Yeah, obviously they knew what they're doing. They knew they're robbing a train. Yeah, 100%.
Underground fraud ring. And those hidden trackers were the Achilles heel of this network. And using these signals from the desert to following this person, Roy Lee Harvey Jr., Nike and the feds were secretly building a case without making a huge public scene. And mistakes by thieves like rushed transfers, talks on the phone, social media posts bragging about their stolen inventory, these all provided breaking points. And allegedly, investigators tied multiple of these pings and social media posts to shipments that were linked to Coolkicks, the Project Blitz raid, Roy Lee Harvey Jr., the Chicago raid, and allegedly the Memphis distribution route. And this is what led to the October 2nd Coolkicks raid. Now, I've made an entire video on this, but for those who don't know, I'll make it really brief. The Coolkicks warehouse in Santa Monica got raided of over $500,000 worth of allegedly stolen merchandise. Allegedly, some of these pairs were unreleased and traced back to these train robberies. But this wasn't just an isolated raid. It was tied to the same pings and cargo flows that traced across the entire network. And just a few days later, on October 6th, a residence in East Los Angeles was also raided. And inside, authorities report recovering $1.4 million worth of stolen Nike goods. Where if you look in these videos, you can see the big box.
All right, so this is interesting. I don't know why the video is titled "Uncovering the Sneaker Cartel," and then it's a video covered. The thumbnail's a deal. So I thought it was going to be about Coolkicks, but it's not. It's really just explaining everything. And he's kind of right. A lot of those shoes, bro, like he said, this has been an ongoing issue for a long time. So Nike has just Sneaker Cartel and it's a deal. Damn, Rami, you sold stolen shoes. Man, f*** Adrian. This has been going on for a long time. So Nike is just, in general, cracking down on the shit. Turns out, a shipment of some shoes that were hit off a train, I guess, ended up at our warehouse. I guess so. Allegedly.
With the red tape on there. Those boxes are filled with multiple pairs of Jordan sneakers inside, and this raid was allegedly publicly linked to the Coolkicks
No,
raid. And
that's where you're wrong though, Chance Dubnik. I don't think that had any, that was not publicly linked to Coolkicks whatsoever. It just happened in the same week. Literally happened in the same week. I think that's the only linking that you're saying, but there was no public linking that said that had to do, no, that's
and
incorrect.
this has not been confirmed, but I'm sure that Coolkicks unknowingly or knowingly bought stolen merchandise, probably from this guy or someone that this guy knows.
Incorrect.
And after posting the Coolkicks video, I got a DM from a few different people, and they claimed that the person whose house got raided was a pretty well-known reseller. And I'm gonna blur out the name of this account and also the faces. But if you look on these pictures, there's multiple boxes in the background with tarps covering them, as well as photos with him and other resellers coming to the house to buy multiple pairs of Jordan sneakers. But I'll let you guys investigate that on your own. But
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, I had no clue who that dude was. I'll keep it right hand of God. I swear to God, I don't know who that was. I saw the name, I was like, I even think I saw a picture. I was like, I ain't never seen this dude in my life. But
on these raids,
y'all won't believe me.
The ultimate goal for this network of thieves was laundering the stolen merchandise through the resale world. Platforms like StockX and Go only check for authenticity. They don't check the source. So once the stolen sneakers pass their inspection, it disappears into the buyer's hands. And this also goes for sneaker stores as well, like Coolkicks or like Project Blitz, for example. In Memphis, label fraud redirected cartons to LA and Chicago, high volume warehouses and consignment.
I'm crying. He sounds so confident. Bree, they were asking about you. You ready to run, Bree? We'll run after this video. I'm reacting to this little video.
Shops then process them, and in the Bay and Chicago, high volume warehouses and consignment shops then process them, and in the resale market nationwide, these pairs get circulated as unreleased or early pairs, and it's all a secret on how these people get their hands on these or these full-size runs that they get. And some of these thieves even wait until the sneakers release and then they sell them, and then who knows where they came from. And to fight back, Nike has initiated a multi-front response. They've expanded the use of RFID, internal audits, and shipment encryption, as well as digital tracking and packaging. And with these massive raids, they began legal pressure, filing lawsuits, freezing resale outlets, and working with local and federal law enforcement. Filing lawsuits, freezing resale outlets, and working with local and federal law enforcement. And each raid, each seizure, each indictment is a piece of a larger strategy, and that's to regain control over their narrative, scarcity, and the flow of their own products. And it seems as of recently, the world can finally see the truth about what's been going on behind the scenes in these underground fraud rings. For collectors and resellers, this story is a cautionary tale of high demand sneakers aren't always what they seem. And sneaker culture has always thrived on scarcity. But behind the hype is a much darker story. Theft, deception, and corporate war that few knew existed. And Nike is fighting it. One warehouse at a time, one sneaker resale store at a time, even one stolen pair at a time. And that pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Now, if you guys haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you get notified every time.
Well, it's a good video. Shout out the homie Chance Dubnik.